Hello and welcome back to Vox Terra. Today I want to start with the amazingly underreported, yet surprisingly easy to find, shockingly large volumes of fossil fuel industry donations to American politicians, political parties, and outside groups. And what that says from Open Secrets, whose tagline is "Following the Money in Politics." Oil and gas, top contributors to federal candidates, parties, and outside groups. So keep in mind, this is only the 2022 election cycle. Total contributions, $70,648,168. Democrats versus Republicans party breakdown. Note the substantial majority of money is going to Republicans. Still, some goes to Democrats also. And this explains so much. First, some of the big players for 2022. At number 1, Koch Industries, $11,555,310. Of that, $1,430,000 plus to candidates and parties. 1.6% to Democrats and 98.4% to Republicans. Now, if you are a regular viewer of my show, or are just involved in the environmental movement, you have probably heard of Koch Industries. Infamous among climate activists and others for spreading what's called climate disinformation and standing in the way of sound environmental policy. Now notice that I nuance my words a bit because wealthy corporations and individuals are known for suing critics. Well, speaking of suing, weighing in at number 2, Chevron at $6,700,059. $781,000 plus to politicians and parties. 19.6% to Democrats and 80.3% to Republicans. Underreported but citable to Amnesty International. Heck, I even saw it on The Daily Show. Chevron's lawsuit against human rights attorney Stephen Donziger, an attorney who successfully sued them over devastation in the Amazon, placed under house arrest in the US of A for a prolonged period of time. Yet no one talked about it. Number 3, Occidental Petroleum, $5,735,000 plus. With $735,000 plus to candidates and parties, 4.2% to Democrats, 95.8% to Republicans. But with a name like Occidental, that just says it all. We are the Occident taking from the Orient, and in this case, we all pay the price. Number 4, Samson Energy at $4,172,279, with $527,000 plus going to politicians and parties, and an outlier with 100% of that money going to Democrats. A notable exception. Number 5, Energy Transfer Limited Partnership, $2,770,000 plus, with $745,820 to parties and politicians. 13.7% to Democrats, 86.3% to Republicans. Energy Transfer and owner of the infamous among the native tribes and environmentalists, yet underreported elsewhere, Dakota Access Pipeline. Number 6, American Petroleum Institute at $2,112,700. $112,000 plus going to politicians and parties. 15.9% to Democrats, 84.1% to Republicans. Well, the name alone sounds like the power behind the throne. Let's jump down the list to ExxonMobil. At number 12, $1 million plus total and $1 million plus going to politicians and parties, weighing in more evenly at 42.4% to Democrats and 57.6% to Republicans. Well, I jumped onto them because ExxonMobil was exposed by Greenpeace on Earth's journalism as, among other things, trying to weaken the Build Back Better Act, or at least the climate-related aspects of it. Now think about these massive campaign donations put in your cabeza and this money going to these outside groups. So the next time when you see a headline on somewhere like Fox News declaring House GOP resolution blasts Green New Deal, or you hear politicians or so-called experts making comments like, we can't run the economy on pixie dust, arg barg, or other just this green stuff won't work, and rah rah rah. When you hear those kind of comments, are these politicians and so-called experts coming out and saying, guess what, I'm getting lots of funding from fossil fuel petrochemical interests? No, they are not. Nor is the media exposing that. Well, these disparate campaign donations going to Republicans, so much more than Democrats, explains why the Republican Party has been so locked down against taking climate action, against transferring away from fossil fuels all these years. But that money going to Democrats, at least some Democrats, Bernie Sanders, I believe, gets no fossil fuel donations. That explains why President Biden and before him President Obama always seem to want to include fossil fuels in their green energy plans. Obama, famous for his all-of-the-above energy strategy. And not getting that money explains why Bernie Sanders feels free to champion 100% renewable, no nuclear and no fossil fuels. But additionally, what role does all this money play in our wars? And these one-sided media narratives that get so much of our public revved up against a foreign adversary. Real or created? Well, your main takeaway for today is just that there's millions of dollars going to American politicians from the fossil fuel industry, as well as funding of outside groups. And this is largely ignored by our media because of their ties to those industries. And the bulk of that money going to Republicans explains why studies like ones I've shared with you in the past showing how we could get to 100% renewable energy are just ignored or dismissed out of hand. And it's decades of this silence explains why we are here today with a biosphere, an earth pumped full of carcinogens and heat-trapping greenhouse gases. So we, the public, the average people, need to understand that capitalism is a get-what-you-bargained-for system. If so many of us just want to keep repeating industry talking points, playing self-proclaimed devil's advocates for them, then this is what we get. Well, I hope you found this video helpful, interesting, enlightening, informative, somewhat entertaining, and if so, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel. You've clicked that notification bell, you are liking, you are commenting. Sincere constructive criticism welcome. And thank you to my patrons at Patreon, my two, Bella Grissi and Environmental Coffee House. And until next time, and as always, peace be with you.